My name is Melissa West, and welcome to Testimony Tuesday. I am a recovering addict. I have been sober for 2.5 years, all by the grace of God and Him pulling me out of the darkest hell. I'm going to start when me and my husband first got together. When I met my husband in 2016, he just got out of prison, and my first husband passed away. I did relapse. I was on a really bad bender, and I also went to go live with him. And during that course of time, he decided to go to sober living, and I decided I still wanted to get high because I wasn't dealing with the things that I was dealing with. Eventually, he went to UMADOT and he got sober for a very long time, and I was really proud of him at that time. And he told me the only way me and him can ever be together is if I leave the situation that I was in. So I left and went to my mother's house and stayed for 3 months. And while I was at my mother's house, I went through the worst withdrawal there ever was. And in February 14th, after me and him courted, was going to church, we were doing good. 2007, February 14th of 2017, we got married. And everything was doing good, but the problem is I didn't deal with me. And I also now understand that people, places, and things is for real. He had a lot of stuff he was dealing with, and so was I. So by the time November of 2017, we relapsed. We relapsed to the point where we started selling everything in our apartment. I lost custody of my daughter. The kids stopped coming over. My utilities was shut off. I mean, it just got worse after that, and it got to the point to where um, I no longer had our apartment no more. I lost my job. I started. I am an IV user at one time, so it got to where by the time Christmas got around, we were living out on the streets, and we would couch surface with people. People knew we were getting high. You know, you can only deal so much with people being in that toxic environment because me and my husband are very toxic to one another when we are using. Um, by the time January got here, we were on methamphetamine, and methamphetamine was something that, we thought was okay, which we know now it's not okay. But it got to where the drugs that we were using and the people that we were with were putting heroin and fentanyl in the stuff that we were using. And by the time March came around, we were fully back into being heroin and fentanyl addicts. We became two people that was not nice. I became somebody that I was not very proud of. I was not a nice person. I did things, that I knew better, but, things happen, so by the time all this was going on, I started catching charges in 2018, and I caught my first charge for assault. They dropped it down to a misdemeanor because somebody owed me money, and I thought it was a great idea to go collect my money, because when you're in active addiction and you're selling, you're a very selfish person, and you're not a nice person at all. Period. Um, by the time June got here, I was wanted by the marshals. I was Mansfield's most wanted on 4 counts of forgery and 3 counts of receiving stolen property. Um, because I thought it was a good idea that when I was on heroin and fentanyl, because um, I needed to make money, so I agreed with somebody to go endorse a bunch of checks from his business. And it caught up with me. It really did catch up with me. Um, he was still in an active addiction. He knew I was going to prison. I knew I was going to prison. I knew it was coming eventually. And I ran for 2 years. I literally took off and ran for 2 years. And in that process, I ended up being a very small person. I only weighed 92 pounds when they did finally find me. Um, Me and my husband both ended up going to jail. I was at a house that the police ended up being up there. We was high. And my way of thinking at that time is I'm going to catch a trapping charge, because I also was selling at that time. and I had a bunch of stuff in the house, and dummy here decided to throw it out the window while the cops was there because I was just so out of it. They did take me to jail. So in of 20th, 2020, I went to jail, and by the 29th, I was on my way to go to prison. I never thought in my lifetime that I would get to that part in my life where I had to call my mom in prison and be like, hey, I'm not coming home for a year. But it happened. I ended up going to prison. And when I was in prison, they don't teach you how to heal yourself and your traumas. I've had a lot of stuff happen along the years. I have had to learn what trafficking was, in between sexual assaults and being abused by men and being sold by men. I never learned how to deal with myself on any of that. I always stayed high to deal with the problems that I was having. So when I got released in prison of April 3rd of 22, I got released out of prison. The state of Ohio still owed me. I was on probation. And since they don't teach you in prison how to deal with your trauma, they teach you how to not get high. I relapsed when I got out of prison. I just, went right back to the same lifestyle I did because I had nowhere to go. My husband lied to me and told me we had a place. He was not. He was still using, and he was really bad off at that time. I really thought I was going to end up losing my husband. Um, so Dan Myers, by the grace of God, decided to let me go ahead and do my interview 2 weeks later with Tippin. He gave me a drug screen, and he told me, he said, Melissa, if your drug screen comes up positive other than for what you said it was, he said, if it's your drug of choice, which is heroin and fentanyl, you're going back to prison for 4 years. You're going to sit your time because I do have 4 years. I did have 4 years over my head. So he went and gave me my drug screen, and by the grace of God, he let me sit in jail for 5 days and sober up. But I did end up going to Tippin. I was locked up for 2 years. I went to Tippin for 4 months and went in there for a drug possession charge. By the grace of God, I went in there, and everybody says you can't find Jesus sometimes. You're using Jesus as a crutch to get out of things, and I didn't. When I went to Tippin, I tell everybody that's when my life changed a lot because I did go to a very amazing church up there. I did learn how to heal and learn how to control, my emotions and learn how to do my boundaries. But it's always different when you get out. And when I got out, I was scared to death to leave. I did not want to leave. I actually wanted to stay because I know how I am. I knew if I got out, I'm going to get high. Um, thank goodness that when you're at Tippin, they have you go to a sober living house. They want you to go to the VOA or somewhere where you're able to maintain how to live on your own without doing the things. And in August of 22, that's when I went to Ruby's. And I'm not going to lie, Ruby's was very hard. Not by any means am I going to sit here and tell you it was easy because I'm used to doing me. I'm used to doing what I want to do. And not only that, you got me in the middle of Park Avenue, and I know everybody out here on Park Avenue. I did give Candace a run for her money, I promise you. Candace did work on me with how to heal and how to be a better person, how to be, not the person that I should not be. I should not be out here robbing people. I should not be out here getting Narcan every other day by my husband. I should not be out here, trying to deal with the world and not myself. Candace did teach me how to sit down and be able to help me focus on a lot of what my problem was. She's the one who taught me what trafficking was. I always thought trafficking was somebody that got kidnapped on the side of the road and they took them somewhere, and it's not. It really is not. And it took me almost 2 years now. I'm not completely healed from a lot of stuff, but I work with it a lot better. And by the time I graduated from there, I was able to find out who I was because I lost my identity so long ago that I did not know who I was. I never laughed. I never smiled. I never joked around with people. I had that mindset to where I'm going to get you before you get me. It doesn't matter if I hurt you, but you're not going to hurt me. I've learned to, I found God is what I did. In that time period that I was at Ruby's for 9 months, I found God. I found the person who truly loved me, who would never hurt me ever again, who was always going to be there for me, and it was God. And I still talk to Candace to this day. I still talk to the girls at the house. Um, I found what my purpose was in life. My purpose is literally to help others, not fix others, but to help others. I am in recovery ministries now. I have been sober for 2.5 years. My husband has been sober now for 3 years, and he is a preacher at our church. I do run a support group now, and it's all because God will take you out of the darkest out of your darkest hell. He will definitely take you out of there. He will take a nobody and turn them into a somebody, and he loves me regardless. And my whole goal set is to be able to help other people now, to let them understand that you can do this, that drugs is not the option for everything. And if you think you can't do it, you can, because I'm living proof that you can do it, because I should not be sitting where I'm at. I should have been on the Jericho wall a long time ago. And I found out that what my purpose here is to be around other people and be a light to other people to help them. And I am very grateful for my support system, for God, and everybody for helping me become who I am. And thank you for joining Testimony Tuesday. You guys have a great day, and God bless.